Midday News. The news is live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra and Kumasi. We're on Love 99.5 FM. We're also live on myjoyonline.com, live in all 16 regions. We're on Radio Somali in Wa. We're on Bedarin FM in Bumprugu, Bikwe FM in Buipe. We're also live on X Spaces. We're on Facebook. The Midday News is supported by Petrol Sol. Your clean fuel in full quantity. Petrol Sol is always a delightful experience. Also brought to you by Dura Plus Ghana Limited, producers of quality PVC and HDPE pipes and water tank. We are the only water storage tank with a level indicator, and where Dura Plus goes, water flows. This afternoon date for next month's BEC likely to change as 90 million cedis owed WAEC has still not been paid by government in spite of weeks of public concerns and condemnation.
You see, the funds are not available, the dates are likely to change. But I'm trying to be optimistic that we'll get some funds before, the dates on which we are dispatching our officers to the field for the exercise.
Members of the medical laboratory scientists mount pressure on leaders not to bow to an NLC directive to call off their strike.
And we are going to have adult start convincing our members because they think that if for 2 years we couldn't get a resolution, how are we sure that within this time, if they go back to work, we will get the desired result?
We'll get to hear from leaders struggling to convince their members to return to work as a strike impacts negatively on patients and their relatives.
Since they are on strike, since Monday, if the person doesn't receive blood earlier, the person will pass out. Oh, God.
Also, MP for Bole accuses Lands Minister of giving out large mining concessions in his constituency to foreigners without consultation after NPP Vice Chair and Secretary were allegedly beaten by some soldiers.
The Secretary is at the hospital because the military brutalized them last night. We are told that some ministers have asked military to go and protect the Chinese who are there doing whatever they call it. They say it's prospecting, but I tell you, they're mining.
And we have sports.
Asante Kotoko are set to part ways with club top scorer Stephen Mokwala and midfielder Richmond Lamptey as they eye 40 new signings to revamp their squad.
And much later, 50 new HIV cases are recorded daily in Ghana, undermining efforts to reduce new infections by 85% by 2030.
We are only able to achieve 14% reduction in new infections compared to 85% that we should achieve by the end of 2025.
We have 50 new infections every day in Ghana.
We have that and more in this afternoon's edition of the Midday News. I am Emefa Apawu. Many thanks for choosing us. We are your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. This afternoon, the West Africa Examinations Council, WAEC, is worried that the dates for the Basic Education Certificate Examination, BEC, may be rescheduled if the outstanding arrears owed by government are not settled by July 4. The examination body continues to push the Education and Finance Ministries to expedite payment, stressing that further delays could disrupt their schedule and affect thousands of students. Government owes the council about 90 million Ghana cedis, but even half could settle debts and other logistics, according to WAEC. The ranking member on the Education Committee of Parliament, Peter Nochukotoi, first raised the issue.
If you come to BEC for 2023, they have just 698,000 outstanding. 2024, the cost is 95,837,000. They have given them only 2.3 million. Now 93 million is outstanding. So if you put what is outstanding plus the 698,000 for 2023, there is an outstanding money of 94 million on the 2023 and 2024 BEC to be cleared. The issue is that government or the Minister of Finance should not wait until we make noise before they release money for the conduct of the examination. Last year we had to do it. 2022 we had to do it. Do we need to do it again this year? So I was proposing to the chairman of the committee that we should invite the Minister for Finance, we should invite the Minister for Education, then we should invite the national officer for WAEC so that we sit down and then probably draw a roadmap and see how soon monies can be released to WAEC.
That's the ranking member on the Education Committee of Parliament, Peter Nochukotoy there. Let me bring in the Director of Public Affairs for WAEC, John Capy, joining us on the line now. We're grateful for your time here on the Midday News. So really, this is not the first time we've been raising this issue about the 90 million cedis owed WAEC by government. What exactly is the reason you've been given for the inability of government to pay this money?
Well, thank you very much, and good afternoon to your listeners. We have not received any specific reason for which the monies have not been released to us. We have been in constant touch with the ministry, but up till now, yesterday we hadn't received any reason for which the monies have not been released to us.
And so then what happens to this particular exams that our children are preparing for?
Well, on our part, as I've said to the media over the past few days, we've managed to get bond paper to print our question papers. So all preliminary preparations have been done. So all we need is to get money from the government, and then we can send our officers out there to go and then conduct the examination. Now, in lieu of that, we are afraid we may have to postpone the exam because there's no money anywhere for us to use for the examination.
Postpone to when?
Well, for as long as the money is not released. Because really, this is a very rare occurrence on the part of WAEC. We've never had to postpone an exam because of monetary issues. But at this time, that is the only option that we have for now.
But one will ask why WAEC waited all this while to start piling pressure on whoever is supposed to release monies for you to do this when you knew that BEC is just around the corner.
Well, maybe because we are not in our circles, you would say we waited for too long. Maybe this is the first time we've come out to the public, and so it looks as if this is just the beginning. But then, usually our budget is prepared, and by October the preceding year, this budget is presented to the ministry to be factored into the bigger budget for the entire ministry. So we are very much aware that the figures are with the ministry. The Parliamentary Select Committee on Education also has an idea about this budget. And so at the beginning of the year, when we're about to start printing, we wrote letters to the ministry asking that, some money be released because we're about to begin the initial processes for the examination. Now, this has been the process over the years that we write, and then they would respond and say, okay, at this time, we will provide this for now, at this I'll provide this. But this year, there's been no response, and in order that we don't get any public backlash, we chose to bring it out to the public.
But is it the case that whoever is supposed to release these monies to WAEC does not understand the seriousness of the situation at hand? Or is it just the case that they can't be bothered?
Well, it's not in my place to guess what their reasons are, but then this is something that we've done over the years. The minister is very much aware. He's an educationist himself. All the personnel at the Education Ministry and the Ghana Education Service, for that matter, are aware of the nature of this examination and the very important nature of the examination. And so really, I wouldn't want to suggest that they do not know the importance of the examination.
So in the meantime, what should our children be doing, those preparing for the BEC next month?
Well, I would want to appeal to them to continue to study, continue to prepare. As I speak, I spoke with the Director of Finance a few minutes ago, and he says that there's been a call from the ministry. So one of our finance officers has gone there. Our hope is that by the time he returns, he will bring in some good news about the release of some funds, and then we'll be able to take it up from there. So the children should continue to prepare for the exam. They should not relax, and they shouldn't be discouraged. Certainly the examination will come on.
Mr. Capy, we are grateful for your time. That's John Capy there. He's the Director of Public Affairs for WAEC. Let me take you to Parliament now. An MP for Bole, Yusuf Suleimana, is accusing Lands and Natural Resources Minister Samuel Abu-Jinapor and the Minerals Commission of handing out large mining concessions to foreigners without proper consultation. This lack of consultation, he says, has led to heightened tensions in the constituency. Yesterday, Vice Chair and Secretary of the NPP in the constituency were allegedly brutalized by some soldiers guarding some of of these mining concessions. While speaking to journalists in Parliament, Yusuf Sulemana warned that there will be further disturbances if the process of handing out these mining concessions is not streamlined.
Unfortunately, from February to date, the Ministry of Finance and Natural Resources has allocated the land or has apportioned the land to over 7 large-scale miners, asking them to go and prospect. And the problem is that there was no any proper stakeholder consultations. And so the youth are there, and then they will see heavy equipments coming to take over what they are doing. And that is where the clash is coming from. Interestingly, it is only the the MPP executives who are given the juicy places to do the galamsey work. And that is what is reflecting. Today, as I speak to you, the vice chairman of the MPP in the Bole Bamboo constituency is hospitalized. The secretary is at the hospital because the military brutalized them last night. They brutalized them because we are told that some ministers have asked military to go and protect the Chinese who are there doing whatever they call it. They say it's prospecting, but I tell you, they are mining. And so the youth involving constituting the MPP executives are saying that, look, we have not been involved, we have not been told anything, and the letter we are doing here is being taken away from us. So that is where the resistance is coming from.
Let me take you live to Parliament, and Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante joins us on the line. Kweku, so Yusuf Sulemana says he expects to raise this issue on the floor. Has he done that?
Well, Parliament just started sitting. He expects that during the time for business statement after the presentation, he would implore on the business committee to try and program the lands minister or the interior minister to come and provide some update on this issue that has led to certain disturbances within his constituencies, gunshots among others. He is afraid and he fears that if this situation is not clearly dealt with in the near future, it is going to escalate into something big in the constituency. He's yet to do so, but as soon as the chairman presents the business committee, he expects to raise this concern.
Okay, and you just mentioned that Parliament is just resuming. What exactly are we expecting on the table today?
Well, there are a number of questions and bills to be considered, and that is what Parliament is expected to deal with. Yesterday, they were able to do any key business because they did not have quorum. In fact, Parliament just started sitting 5 minutes ago, and on the floor, again, there's no quorum. No issue has been raised, but there are not up to 20 members of Parliament on both sides of the aisle on the floor right now. But we expect that there will be the business statement, and then there will be questions and answers on the road sector. And if any MP is minded to raise an issue of quorum, then the House will have to adjourn to next week Tuesday.
That's a Parliamentary Affairs correspondent, Kweku Asante. Well, let me bring in Isaac Nonya. He's on the ground on this particular allegations that were made by the Bole MP, Yusuf Sulemana, accusing the Lands Minister and the Minerals Commission of handing out large mining concessions to foreigners without proper consultations. And we're told that there was some brutalization by some soldiers allegedly guarding some of these mining concessions. Isaac Nonya, you've been following the situation. What can you report?
Yes, the rumors on the ground is that the uniformed men came to ground based on a surveillance they have mounted in the area and the instruction of some official leadership to come and raid the place to remove some of these miners. Many of them in the area were told are illegal miners at Dollar Power, Queen, and what have you, around the Bandakota areas. So once that happened, the two people, brothers who are injured, one is the secretary, another one is the chairman of these miners. Now, people want to know if at all these people are illegal miners. If that is the case, there's a process to take them off from the area. Don't forget that Bole area, there are several occasions that the military officers have raided the water bodies, trying to chase them out. In some instances, they were able to burn their equipment in the water. This time around, people are alleging that the recent killings in Bole, they also believe that a lot of spiritual performances are being performed by these illegal miners or small-scale miners to be able to purify their concession to get more gold. As we speak, there is a crucial meeting between members of the assembly and then some recent members, including some leadership of the military, trying to find a way out, the better way of addressing the issue.
That's Savannah Regional Correspondent Isaac Nonya there giving us updates on the situation. Now, members of the medical laboratory scientists have mounted pressure on their leaders not to bow to a National Media Commission directive to call off their strike as their trust in the negotiation fades. The NLC has directed the scientists to call off the strike and return to the negotiating table, but the workers who are yet to comply with the directive say they will return to work only if all their concerns are met. Let's hear from the union's General Secretary, Cephas Kofi Akoto, who says the strike remains in full force and that no decision will be made until executives have been consulted.
We are not very happy because our expectations are not met. But all the same, we are all Ghanaians. We will take the advice of the Commission. Based on the decision of the National Executive Council, we will have engagement with our membership. But for now, we cannot say the strike is suspended. It is still ongoing. But we believe that if the duty bearers will act upon it, we'll all be happy at the end of the day.
Meanwhile, leadership of the union tell Joy News their members are not willing to compromise on their stance as they indicate that will not be in their best interest, knowing that would stall any ongoing attempt to address their concerns. We can hear from the National First Vice Chair of the Medical Laboratory Scientists Union, Dr. Franklin Ni Amate Ama.
The hell of a time we have had convincing our regional chairman and the representatives of the teaching hospital and also our youth wing, even at the national executive level, it tells me that we are going to have adult staff as leaders convincing the right and file of our membership. Because if anything, what is happening on our platforms now, WhatsApp platforms now, is anything to go by, it doesn't look good. The ordinary medical laboratory professional feels, slighted and frustrated. And they think that if for 2 years we couldn't get a resolution, how are we sure that within this time, if they go back to work, we will get the desired result?
Well, let's get an understanding of how the strike is affecting patients. So we go to Kumasi, where renal patients have been hard hit. Hayford visits the hospital twice in a week for dialysis. His brother has been telling Joy News how adversely the strike is affecting his health.
It's so heartbreaking because each time you come for a session, there is an amount of blood that is reduced from the amount of blood you already have. And sometimes, if you are lucky and then you go on check on labs, that is when the doctor would alert you that at this point, your patient can't have dialysis because if she goes on the dialysis, the machine virtually takes a certain amount of blood from the patient.
Well, the relatives anticipate more deaths if the strike is not called off.
People on blood infusion, because of the strike, now they are trying to improvise, of which their improvisation won't sustain them. So if these strikes are not called off earlier, Kumasi should expect mass burial. I know most of the doctors can be smart and they can put it to any other means. Oh, it was because of this. But the truth is that people at the ICU unit, people at the accidents ward, people who need blood, if they don't get it earlier enough, people are dying. Oh, God.
Well, and that's the situation on the ground, and we are still monitoring this lab, protest and the strike on whether they will actually heed to the National Labour Commission's directive. Now, the Ghana Hajj Board says it cannot confirm the specific number of Ghanaians who have died after a heat wave in Saudi Arabia where they were attending the Mecca pilgrimage. Speaking in an interview with Joy News, spokesperson of the Hajj Board, Abdul Rahman Al-Hassan Gomda, says it will take days before the exact number of Ghanaians who died as a result of the heat wave will be established. International media is reporting more than 1,000 people have died during the Hajj pilgrimage to the city of Mecca.
But it should be noted here that the numbers put out regarding those who died as a result of the heat wave, it's about 6. Earlier report had something in the region of 13. But an official caution that we should be careful with these figures, because at the time he was talking to me, outside the medical team of the Hajj Board, it should be noted, he said they had gathered that the figure was 6. However, the forensic center where corpses are kept, the authorities there were in the process of identifying the nationalities of the dead who have been brought to the place. They are using fingerprint method of identification.
Well, ARA Gomda also says the Hajj board is liaising with Saudi authorities on the next steps.
When there is a fatality, the consulate comes in, and then our authorities, the Ghana Hajj board, is informed. If the deceased has family members within the Hajj contingent, a certain number is invited to come and witness the burial procedure. That is what we do when such fatalities occur. However, on the part of those who die not belonging to the Hajj fold, that is, those who use visiting visas, tourist visas to perform the Hajj, they don't come under us. In fact, they are regarded as persons who have committed illegalities, because you are not allowed to use tourist visa to perform the Hajj.
Spokesperson of the National Hajj Board there speaking to us, taking us on a quick break here on the Midday News, live on Joy 99.7 FM in Accra and Kumasi, on Love 99.5 FM, also live on myjoyonline.com, made possible by Petrol Sol. Your clean fuel in full quantity. Petrol Sol is always a delightful experience. Also brought to you by Duraplus Ghana Limited, producers of quality PVC and HDP pipes and water tank. Where Duraplus goes, water flows. We return from the break with sports, and 50 new HIV cases are recorded daily in Ghana, undermining efforts to reduce new infections by 2030.
We are only able to achieve 14% reduction in new infections compared to 85% that we should achieve by the end of 2025.
We have 50 new infections every day in Ghana.
When budgets are tight and money difficult to come by, you want to be sure you get the best value for your money. These are not times to be spending money fixing expensive engine problems because of cheap fuel and lubricants. Drive to a petrol source station today and buy your quality fuel and lubricants, and rest assured of fuel that lasts long and lubricants that prevent expensive engine problems. Hear the sound. Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity.
The regular football season is over. But not for us here at Supersport. We've got a big deal coming your way. Get connected to DSTV to see some of football's biggest names starring in all 51 matches of Euro 2024, live and in HD. Now that's a big deal.
Thanks for staying with us. Let's do sports now. Mubarak, what do we have?
Yes, Emefa. So striker Stephen Mokwala and Richmond Lamptey are expected to be the latest players to leave Asante Kotoko. The club had already parted ways with 18 players and hoped to make 14 new signings. Love FM's Stephen Zando has more.
Our checks reveal the technical team, together with the club hierarchy, have agreed to have a team of 25 senior players and 25 youth players for the junior team, making it a total of 50 players. The club will sign 14 players this season, including 4 foreign players, and the indication is that these foreign players are regular figures in their various national teams. Also, the club has already contacted the agent of Hasafok Salif Ibrahim in an attempt to get the Heart star to replace departing Richmond Lamptey. Ghana Premier League players like Prince Owusu Kwabena of Bibiani Gold Stars, Saka Dawuda of Bofokaton have all been contacted by Asante Kotoko.
Yep, Asante Kotoko beginning to get busy in the transfer market. That's your sport, Emefa.
Thank you very much, Mubarak. We have Euros tonight?
Yes, we have a big game between the Netherlands and France, obviously.
And I can't wait for game plan as well.
Exactly, at 1:15 p.m.
Yes, thank you very much, Mubarak. Now, researchers in the clean air space are this afternoon making a strong case for government to take immediate steps to minimize air pollution in the country. Well, this is coming on the back of a fresh report published by the Health Effects Institute together with UNICEF, which revealed that air pollution is now the second biggest health health risk factor for death worldwide, killing at least 8 million people, including 700,000 children annually. Clean Air Beat reporter Michael Ashali has been studying this document. He joins me in studio with details. What more are we learning from this report, Michael?
So, Emefa, the report says that air pollution is responsible for 8 million deaths alone. Now, if you break that down, approximately 925 people die from air pollution every hour and 15 people every minute. Now, ambient air, we know, which includes indiscriminate burning, industries, or fumes from industries and then vehicles, was responsible for more than half of all these deaths, 58%. Now, sitting in traffic for hours is just by saying that you are smoking. I mean, you exposed to all the fumes from these vehicles. Now, 30% again of these deaths from we know are from lower respiratory infections, and 48% are from chronic obstructive pulmonary disease.
Okay, what about Ghana though? Any specific details it shared?
MFA, well, we expect that in the coming days they'll release the country-specific figure. However, we know from the separate WHO report that 28,000 Ghanaians die annually from air pollution.
Air pollution levels are consistently moving up. There are several factors that account for this. I think one of the things that is very obvious is emissions from vehicles. And this boils down to our policies on regulating emissions from vehicles. Another thing we can also quickly comes to mind is residential garbage burning. In terms of policies, there are quite a number of policies, but we realize that its implementation is what is lacking.
We have some laws, but there's a lot more that we need to be doing. So by the EPA, Ministry of MESTI in Parliament, that has been there for a long time. And that bill has aspects which would tackle or bring to the fore some of the air quality related issues. Waste management is a major source of pollution in our country, as Doc referenced, major source of air pollution. And that is an area we have a whole ministry to look at waste management.
NASA epidemiologist Dr. Reginald Kwanzaa, country lead of Clean Air Fund, and I must tell you that the story was in collaboration with New Narratives. Funding was provided by Clean Air Fund. The funder had no say in the content of this particular story. Now, the Ghana AIDS Commission has revealed that an average of 50 persons contract HIV daily in Ghana. Speaking in an interview on the AM show, Director General of the Ghana AIDS Commission, Dr. Tremie Tiahene, says the situation is as a result of an increase in casual, unprotected sex among young ones.
These 17,774 people have multiple partners, which is clearly demonstrated in the Demographic and Health Survey report that multiple sexual partnership is quite pervasive in the country. And so if 17,000, almost 18,000 people living with who newly acquired HIV in 2023, and mind you, people who are newly infected are more infectious. In the acute stage, the virus multiplies more rapidly. As the virus multiplies much more rapidly in the blood or the tissues, the person has a very high chance of transmitting the virus. And that is when they don't know. That's when they feel strong and there is no sign of infection. And so
well, he has an interesting reason why women are at more risk of contracting the virus compared to their male counterparts.
Females are more vulnerable to HIV infection than males. The anatomy clearly demonstrates that the reproductive system is more of a receptacle. When female has sex with a man and the man ejaculates, the sperm, which might contain HIV particles, may remain in her for quite some time. Surface area of the vagina is much wider than that of the male. And especially in Ghana, we have almost universal male circumcision. And circumcision is found to be a protective factor for HIV transmission.
Well, it's time for the Love FM High School debate, and the round of 16 of the Love FM Pepsodent High School debate left spectators speechless, culminating in a thrilling showdown that ended decisively with Our Lady of Grace SHS advancing to the quarterfinal stage. Nana Boache Dankwa Yadom has more.
All too soon, we've come to the end of the round of 16 of the Love FM Pep-Student High School debate. And at the end of today's contest, Our Lady of Grace will be proceeding to the quarterfinal stage of the Love FM Pep-Student High School debate. And then the second contest, we saw a tie between Osei Tutu Senior High School and then Konongo Dumase Senior High School. How prepared are you to break the tie?
100%.
Are you sure you can beat them?
Oh, we can do it. Practice makes a man perfect.
Konongo Dumase, what should we expect from you? Are you going to kick OT out during the tiebreak on Monday?
Okay, thank you once again. I'm Valentina Ajokum from Konongo Dumase. And to lose, we'll choose to break ties, and then to the OTs, we are coming back for them. They should know that we don't deal with just mere sentimentals, but we deal with facts.
Our Lady of Grace will be joining Presby SHS, Kumasi Anglican, Kumasi High School, Osei Chichie, St. Hubert Seminary SHS, Church of Christ SHS, and then after the tiebreaker between Osei Tutu Senior High School and Konongo Dumase, one of them will be joining these schools to the quarterfinal stage of the Love FM Pep-Student High School debate. I'm not more by what I...
And that's the Love FM High School debate. M&J, it's a Friday. What we're talking about.
A lot is happening on social media. Sarkodie is trending.
Why?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, for two reasons.
Jackie is going to tell. Okay, Jackie, tell us.
Okay. Yeah. So yesterday, Joe Metal was on Hits FM, and apparently Sarkodie asked Joe Metal for a feature which he declined. Well, let's take a listen to why he declined.
Me and Sarkodie, like we understood each other. So I don't know why they are bringing these things again.
No, for me, I don't know. Honestly,
no. He spoke about it, and then we talked about it, and so I would tell you point blank. I think what the thing is it's just a door I don't want to open. See, when the Spirit allows you to do certain things, He has His reasons for it. But until then, I think by principle, I have too many friends, if you do one, you have to do for everyone else. I don't, that's the whole thing.
It means my own never go out. Apart from Sarkodie, who else has not done it?
Oh, I've had a few. One of the people who's been calling me out.
Reasons why I love Joe Metal. I love him.
The way Emefa is not
But Notus is also part,
Oh, so what?
He declined.
Who is manifest? Oh, please.
Some comments.
We are Joe Metal.
Some comments. Thomas Brown says, "Sack impuni na shatawale die." He no go pick in Kosef. And then there's another one. He says, one collaborate plus them. It be force and everyone plus them are principles. Why? Since we are all in the spirit, we are in the spirish. Maybe we can end on a spirish note.
Note for Friday.
It's important, Joe Metal. Much respect. And that's how we end today's edition of the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. There's more when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Living Word with Pastor Mensa Otabil is up next. Elijah to Elisha, episode 3. I am Emefa Apawu. Have a good afternoon.